Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of eDiscovery After Hours. My guest this week is Austin Hagen. Many of you know me as the Discovery Master guy. Discovery Master was spun out of a services company called Proteus Discovery Group. Austin is my newest coworker at Proteus, joining as the vice president of operations there. So we talked about his childhood in small town Iowa, the little hobby farm that he and his family are basically starting on 40 acres in remote Wisconsin, how he got into this space and some of the advice that he has for young professionals who are making their way in eDiscovery. So it's a great episode, and I think you're really going to like it. Our sponsor this week is Discovery Master. When you are tracking document review projects in Relativity, if you have a massive workspace and you just want to chop up and look at different batch sets and have automated project metrics and QC metrics, or maybe you're tracking document review projects hosted by multiple vendors and in multiple instances of Rel1 across the globe, you want one place to log in and see all of the document review projects that you have in Relativity, no matter where the data lives. Check out discoverymaster.co. Thanks for tuning in.
Time.
You don't know how to drink, your whole generation.
Drinks on the house.
Yes, sir.
No, wait a second. Drinks are 50% off.
Right.
No, wait a second. Double the price of everything.
And I work only 16 hours a day.
A union man only works 8 hours a day.
I belong to 2 unions.
And now, eDiscovery After Hours with your host, Ryan Short.
All right, Austin, welcome to eDiscovery After Hours. Cheers.
Cheers, Ryan. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. What are we working on? What are we drinking?
We are drinking Jameson and Ginger Ale Zero.
All right. So a nice summertime drink here.
Yes.
I've never heard of Jameson and ginger. What was it? Ginger Ale Zero is what that
Ginger
was.
Ale Zero. Yeah.
I procured the same and can't recall what it was. I've never heard of this drink. Where did you come upon it?
I was, so one of the things I enjoy is ice fishing. So I take a trip every year with my dad, and we went up in January, and he's like, bring a bottle of Jameson. I'm like, all right, I've never had it. What do we drink with it? And he's like, I usually have ginger ale. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to try it. And it's not nearly as refreshing when it's, 20 below zero as it is when it's 80 degrees and on a golf course. But I've really started to enjoy it after a round of golf when I can get out and play. It's nice, crisp, and refreshing. And I add the zero sugar part because I have a natural sweet tooth. So I'm trying to reduce the sugar where I can.
Yeah, so a couple of things. I pitched it as a refreshing summertime drink, and then you proceeded to tell me that you discovered it while ice fishing. So strike one.
Right. Yeah.
And then, so do you get out? Are you able to golf much? Because you've got 2 kids, right? Elementary school age.
Yeah. 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. So I don't get out and play golf nearly as what I would like to. I played the last Saturday, which is the first time I'd played in a month. So hopefully in August I can get out 2 times. That's kind of my goal at this point, 2 to 4 times a month.
So I have to be real careful to book, we'll sponsor golf outings or something.
Sure.
And that's the only time, because I've got 4 young kids and my wife stays home. And so the last thing I want to do is disappear for 5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, that's not fair. That's not great.
And I don't have the discipline to get up at 5 a.m. and tee off for 9 holes at 5:45 and be home by breakfast. That's just not how I roll. So
yeah, that was actually my goal this summer. I joined a little 9-hole course. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get up and go get 9 holes in before work. And it hasn't worked out because I don't like to get up or have the discipline that early on a consistent basis.
Do either of your kids, are you starting to teach them golf at all? Because that's an excuse. You could kind of, 2 birds.
Yeah, my son has started to show an interest, so I want to teach him. My daughter's big into horses like her mom is. So, but I'm trying to get my son involved. But he's only 5. I might get him some little clubs next year and take him out or take him outside and let him chip around and see how it goes.
One of the problems is that you're only supposed to have one expensive hobby, and you just mentioned golf and horses. So,
yes,
so you've got some priorities you got to work out. So The cat, spoiler alert, Austin and I are coworkers at our services company. And so as we were getting to know him a couple of months ago, he mentions, living on all this acreage and they're clearing out space for horses and whatnot. Now, you mentioned your wife is into it. Are you much of an equestrian yourself, or is this like a total novice situation?
It's total novice. Yeah. She grew up training them and showing them and everything. So I'm very much learning. This will be our first winter with the horses. So we'll see. I'm not so concerned about the summertime, but the wintertime when it's really cold, getting out there with them is more of a concern, but learning as I go.
No, thank you. That's better you than me. We'll bring the kids to visit though.
Yes, it'd be a great opportunity for the kids to visit. My daughter loves it. She's an animal person. So we have chickens, a dog, a couple cats, and some horses. So I'm very much getting used to all these animals because I didn't grow up with any animals. And now I'm thrown into all of it. Yeah,
man, you're about to have a working farm.
Pretty much. I'm like 2 animals away from getting a hobby farm, tax exempt. So we'll see.
Oh, too funny. All right. So take me back to the beginning. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm from a little town in Iowa, western part of Iowa called Ida Grove, Iowa. The biggest town would be Sioux City near the Nebraska border.
Yeah.
And then I eventually moved to Wisconsin. My senior year of high school, went to University of Wisconsin Superior, right on the shores of Lake Superior. As I like to say, 4 years in that cold was enough for me. But it's amazing the lake effect that you can have. I was actually up there playing golf in June, and I got to the top of the hill and it was 80, and I get into Superior and it was like 60. So it's real. It's different. But I had some really good times. I made some really good friends up there, and then moved to Eden Prairie, Minnesota, spent some time in Arizona, then back to Minnesota, and moved to Wisconsin a couple of years ago so we could get that everyone's dream, or should be dream, horse property.
Yeah, I dig it. I don't know if it'll be horses, but I do want the property.
Yeah, it is. It has been really nice. We got some trails for 4-wheelers and walking around. It's been really nice.
Heck yeah, man. I dig that. That is, in all sincerity though, like that's a ton of work. People think like, oh, you have all this acreage. It's just fun. It's like somebody has to maintain those trails. Somebody has to feed and clean up after the animals. Somebody has to do you've got eDiscovery is a stressful job, right? You're at the beck and call of clients, not necessarily 24/7, but it's demanding. And then, you're a husband, you've got these young kids, you've got all this land. When do you sleep?
When I can. Sometimes it can definitely be a challenge, especially with all this land. I'm having to learn new things. Like I never used a chainsaw before. I never used a rototiller before, a bigger lawnmower. I'm gonna have to get a tractor here pretty soon. So I sleep when I can, which is one of the reasons I don't like to get up too early, because I'm usually in the evening hours doing the horse work or farm work, I guess.
So I wonder, if you feel this way? One of the things that I always did lawn and landscaping and growing up and all the way into, kind of the first year or two of undergrad as a way to make money. Right.
Right.
And my back lawn is a disaster. It's just where the kids run around and they dig holes and there's dirt and God knows what else. But my front lawn looks like Augusta. Like it is a gorgeous manicured, I've got the perennials and the annuals and they complement. And I like getting my hands dirty and physically seeing the results of my labor, since, we have desk jobs and we work in software and whatever. Do you find that that's kind of like a cathartic outlet to be out working in your property? Or is it like, oh man, here's just another task I got to fit into my schedule?
Yeah, I would say lately it's really been an outlet for me. Like I'm the same way. In my front yard, I'm trying to get it manicured, look like a golf course. Long way to go though, because I essentially live in a rock quarry. I have a lot of rocks in the yard, so I'm constantly picking up rocks and trying to get it. But it definitely does allow me to take some stress out. Like when we were putting our horse fence in, grabbing the posts and pounding them into ground. Didn't enjoy when I liked hitting a rock, but it was a good way to get some aggression out, which was kind of nice. Good stress reliever.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So you go from small town Iowa, you move to Wisconsin, you do undergrad in Superior. What did you study?
Computer information systems. So growing up, I always thought I wanted to be a lawyer or an accountant. But as I got closer to college time, I'm like, I'm not really sure I want to just dive into and be in numbers all the time. So I picked something that was going to challenge me academically and also be involved in technology. So computer information system it was. And my capstone class was a class in project management. And that's when I really realized that's something I enjoy and eventually wanted to move my career towards that.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, you're there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you come out of school. What's the first job? Is it eDiscovery?
No, actually, my first job, I had a friend who was the IT administrator for a manufacturing company in Wisconsin, and they needed some help building a database program. So they contracted to me, and I built a program to track their shipments and deliveries and access, and then help them with some other IT type work. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months, was looking for a job, and I had a college friend who was working in electronic discovery, which I had never heard of. And he's like, hey, I think you'd really like it. Come on over. So I went over, started there as a temp worker, working Tuesday through Saturdays and the late night shift. And like 6 months later, my college friend was gone. And he's no longer in eDiscovery, but I'm still in there.
Yeah, just a casual 15 years later.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Although if you're working the graveyard shift from Tuesday through Saturday, I can't imagine that 6 months in you were liking it. Something tells me he got like a referral bonus for you coming aboard.
I think so. Yeah, I did. Those first, especially few months were hard, working the late night shift because I was in my early 20s. So I wanted to go out and meet people and things like that. And I wasn't really able to, but it worked well. And I realized, eDiscovery was something that was always going to be challenging and always changing, which is something I really like. Yeah.
So I think, there's this concept in change management, right? And of course, now that I said those phrases, I'm blanking on the name. The words are gone. But, it's like the classical change curve, right? So At the outset, you're super optimistic and everything is fantastic and this is going to go great. And then you dive down into this depths, the abyss of despair, because you realize how difficult it is. And then you come out the other side, you plateau and everything is fine. Yeah. So as you think about accidentally moving into this weird little niche called eDiscovery, at what point, what were some of those inflection points early on in your career in this industry where, you had to make this judgment call? Do I stay or do I take this, transferable skill set that I have and go elsewhere? I would just be curious to hear, because there's a lot of, younger people who listen to this and, will message me after the show, be like, oh, it's so great to hear this out of the other. So what are some of those inflection points you had early on in this industry?
Yeah. So after I got done being a temp worker, when I moved to a full-time job, I had the opportunity to take some different, email platforms like GroupWise, Lotus Notes, and there was one called First Class that I worked on that was the most challenging, and convert them to Outlook to PST format. So just kind of diving into that and using the processes that were already there is something I'm like, oh, I really like this. I really enjoy doing this. And then I want to grow my career, and how can I help change some processes, and then eventually work with clients to understand why am I sitting here on the back end converting email platforms I've never heard of at the time into Outlook. Like, what is this all about? Understanding the big picture, it kind of is what kept me in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you have, was that just like an internal motivation, or did you have mentors along the way who would help you peel back the curtain and kind of give you the executive view of, hey, here's the forest of the trees. Here's why all this matters. Did you have one or more people who kind of took you under their wing, or was this all like just self-determination?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I think the self-determination definitely helps, but if you can find someone who's been in the industry for a while and kind of take you under their wing, has been exceedingly helpful in my career.
Awesome. All right, well, let's put a bow on this thing. The latest move in your career that I don't think have come to regret yet is joining me and our merry band at Proteus Discovery Group.
Yes.
So tell us about your new gig, what it is you're doing, and who the heck is Proteus, and what's it all about?
Yeah, so I've been very excited since I joined Proteus as the VP of operations. There's a really solid foundation at Proteus, and with all the mergers and acquisitions in the marketplace, I think there's a really, really sweet spot for those mid-tier law firms and corporations to go to eDiscovery vendors like ourselves here at Proteus, and kind of we can help them with our top-notch customer service and help deliver great results for their clients. And I'm really excited. We have a really good team here at Proteus, and to come in and work with the team and build out those processes and procedures, which I love and enjoy.
Yeah. It's all about that sweet spot, right? Of
Yep.
you don't have defensibility and repeatability, but not be so stringent that the clients feel like they're boxed into these preordained workflows and they're just a number. So,
Right. Yeah. Even though we're going to build out workflows, give the clients the opportunity to evolve and go outside of those and build custom ones for them.
right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, man, glad to have you on the team. Glad to have you on the show. And thanks for the introduction to the new drink.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to go ice fishing sometime, just let me know.
Woo! Corporate retreat.
There we go.
All right.